Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay. The more life goes on, the more that I'm proven right. I'm not saying I'm always right, but my percentage is increasing at a very high speed. And a lot of the points that I used to try to bring up too, well, Republicans, bigots, people with no empathy, sympathy, compassion, just having a heart, period. I keep proving my case. Right, Zach from Flint? Right? Oh, yeah, when's the last time you paid taxes? Yeah, yeah, you. Yeah, I'm petty. But it's people. I will never forget when during COVID, during all of that, I was doing live streams on the internet because I needed, it's like, yes, watching, everyone was on either Netflix, some people were watching YouTube and things, but I wanted human interaction. I wanted to talk to people, especially right around this time, like, oddly enough, the craziest timing of having to go through countless tests, having to have surgery, being diagnosed. So much mental stuff was going on at the same time. I needed human interaction. And I will never forget the debate with him. And there were a few other, like, conservative men kept going, especially like white MAGA conservative men kept coming to my feed. And it's funny with how many of them kept writing me, "You're so beautiful. When do you think you might be able to come over? When can I come over?" And give you like, one of them, he knew about my disability because I talk about it. One of the reasons why I was like, you know what, when I stream, I want to talk about disability and disability rights because I volunteered with nonprofits, especially those with disabilities, much of my life. My mom taught special ed, so it was an interest for years, even in college. But that's another major. Like, I talk about all the majors my parents told me I better not study or whatever. But another one was trying to work for a nonprofit in places where people volunteer to make America or make the country, feed the hungry and things like that, better and improve and help with society. But that was a no no. That was another no no. But with all of that, I've learned a lot about the unfairness and how this country has mistreated those with disabilities. And debating some of these men, quote unquote men, whenever I would bring up either minimum wage and disability rights and things, they would call me stupid and crazy. It's like there's one, if you guys have been watching episodes, there's this one guy, I don't remember his name because it's not worth knowing and remembering, because Ollie, for months, for actually about about 2 years, maybe even 2.5 years, he would just come up in my mailbox. And some people ask, why don't I block him? No, it's like he started giving me more material proving my case about how awful and heartless MAGA is. So I'm just like, oh, he wrote me again. And oh, yeah, he's being even more awful, stupid, idiotic, and things like that. Poorly educated. But whenever I would bring up those topics, especially with disability, all of them just fake it. They just fake it. And it's like they don't deserve anything anyways. Oh, and if they have a disability, just stay home. Just eat what your parents buy you. It's like you don't deserve to choose. Just like whatever they have around the house, eat that. And I was astonished because I'm just like, do you know how disgusting you are? And they have a life too. They should be able to enjoy their life as well. And they didn't ask, especially like no one. chooses to have a disability. And especially those who were born, like myself, with a disability, we didn't ask for this. And so when people say that we should, I tell you guys about the one date that I went on, and oh my, this guy is on the spectrum who told me, just stay home. You shouldn't be in public. Because he has an invisible disability, he was ashamed of me, embarrassed of me, even though for months he was begging to take me out. Begging. It's like part of me wonders, is that in my old phone or my old phone? Because if I could show you the screenshots of him saying how amazing I was and how smart and how wonderful the conversation is and all this other stuff, but since I now need a walker or a cane or a scooter in order to get around, I am no longer human enough. Job interviews before my diagnosis. Why do you walk like that? You're too pretty to walk like that. So why don't you just go find the right doctor so they can fix you? And then you can come and apply because your resume is one of the top ones. You're one of the most highly qualified for this position. You should be working jobs like this. And or you don't want to work here. It's like, oh no, you're overqualified for this job. But yeah, you need to go higher. But then the jobs that are higher, you need more experience and things like that. So yeah. So then I had to start taking stuff off of my resume. So then they couldn't use that as an excuse. And so some companies decided we're going to use the excuse of either you live too far or you'd be a distraction for our clients, or we don't have an elevator, or it's like, what about if you're in pain, or oh, our parking structure is too far away, so you're going to get too tired. And I can go on and on. There's so many different excuses, but just with my disability alone, so many companies figured out a way or reason to tell me why they did not hire me. But then people are celebrating DEI disappearing. You don't you don't realize how it was already hard without DEI. And so with DEI, it at least forced them to at least look at my resume a little bit more. And I, like with one of the universities I worked at and taught at, I got the job, and the first day the dean saw me because on the application I have that I have a disability. And I guess there's a huge difference when they hire you virtually, because this is the end of COVID and everything. And they said, "Oh, would you like a virtual interview, or would you like to be like come to the campus?" And I was like, "Oh, virtual's fine." And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect." And so there was two gentlemen, the awful fake mentor who ignored me the entire semester, even though I wrote them constantly asking questions, but they showed that they didn't really care and they're no good bigots. And that's all in my opinion, but yeah, I tell the whole story, so catch up. It's in one of the episodes. They're absolutely nightmares. But the first day of work, I come out of my class and the dean sees me. And again, I told them during the interview, I have a disability, so I hope all of my classes are on the first story. Oh, we don't have any second stories for any of our classes. All of our all of our classes are on the first floor. And they laughed, and I was like, oh, okay, great, that's perfect. Once that dean saw me, what happened to you? Oh, I didn't expect this. I told you you have a disability. I told you you have a walking disability. And I told you I need my classes to be on the first floor. Yeah, but I didn't expect this. The dean and my mentor ignored me for the rest of the semester. The rest. Yeah. When it was time for professors to start getting their assignments for the next session, the next semester, and everything, he ignored me. He dodged me. He wanted nothing to do with me. And my so called mentor did anything and everything he could to make sure that I did not ask any questions, or that I just kind of deluded myself from the scene. And so I was like, you know what? Fine. That's perfectly fine. So, yeah, they're added to my character list. Oh, the villains and the victims they are going to be is going to be delicious. Yes, I'm petty. I don't care. But it's really frustrating when many people, because with some states and with some of these Republicans, they want to make it where you have to work in order to get the benefits. Some jobs don't want to hire us, and especially with my degrees, with my certifications, the jobs I should be able to get, they don't want to give me. And I'm still gonna, while I try to get back into the market, now that surgery, well, I'm still like, yeah, let's just say every day is physical therapy day. Every day is a torturous day, but you know what? That's life, or that's my life, or whatever. You'll live and you learn with that. So, and it's just frustrating because some of us want to work. We really want to work, but then some jobs won't let us work virtually, even though none, hardly, even if we go in once or twice a week, that would be great. That would be fine. Or even 3 times every other day, whatever. But some companies who especially don't understand the disability situation, they won't do that. And now, even seeing how our current president and their issue with people working from home, and I've talked about this months ago, how many people with disabilities taking that option away, where you cannot work from home, where you have to drive to the office every day, especially when I work. It's like, and it's crazy. Two of my closest friends are my bosses. They're some of my old bosses when I used to be a promotional model. They know when I work, I work. And then with one of my friends slash bosses, when he needed help with another project for a job position, he called me up and hired me, because when I work, I work. And part of it was at home too. And I do what I need to do. But now I'm going to kind of switch it over, because some of these Republicans disgust me. And it might be some Democrats too. But there are so many episodes I talk about disability life and the issues that I go through. But lately, now Republicans are trying to take some of the benefits of Medicaid away. And some of their proof, they're putting some ignorant, arrogant, no good, stupid doctors, in my opinion, to speak. And they're saying, I see people coming in on Medicaid, and they are walking around and they look like you and me talking to another white, able bodied male. Okay, and then also there was one where he mentioned a female and she has a hearing aid, and he was like, she's able to work. Okay, let me remind you again what, like, I'm able to, like, I as long with the I have a driving situation which I'm still working on, and I busted my tush off, and I had to email nonprofit after nonprofit and everything like that, so I can try to figure out a way so that I can get on track for that independence. But with some jobs that I don't have to be there every single day, I got rides. And so I can work, but I need this, like I would need like at least some openness, or I need some just flexibility. And the thing is, I want to work. I I taught at one school for a little over 6 years, a community college, advertising marketing. And I taught at the university, and yeah, I got rides there and I taught, and I teach well too. But it's crazy how people now they want to say that we have to work. Some of us are trying to work, but some of us need the right resources, and some of us need DEI because you say, like that one doctor claimed that that deaf woman can just get a job. For one, is that her only disability? And two, have you ever sat with someone with a disability during a job interview? You don't know the stupid questions HR and bosses, owners, managers ask during job interviews. You don't know how some of them on purpose do not hire us. I know because I've been through it so many countless times, to the point I was in full depression. I hated myself. And in all honesty, I'm still healing. I'm still trying to not hate myself because I judged myself. I was hard on myself. I kept saying I must be a mistake. I must be stupid. I must be terrible. I must not be good enough. Because job after job, they kept complimenting me on my resume. And then during the interview, they kept saying how impressed they were with even that I studied the business, like going to the interview. I knew some of their latest projects, and or I read up on their summaries of the, like, 'cause I went on their website, studied and looked at it. So then when I went to the interview, I came ready and prepared. And they said they were shocked and that was impressive. But then normally it was, and sometimes it was with the race and gender, but so many times it was with, why do you walk like that? You're too pretty to walk like that. When are you going to get that fixed? And since I wasn't diagnosed, and I will try to remember to add the video near the end of the episode, but you guys already know about Dr. George and how this is near the end, when before the whole full nightmare of me not being able to walk for a while and having to have major surgery and then having to have tests and then being told, oh yeah, our bad, you do have a disability. Because for over 30 years, doctors told my parents and I the pain was in my head, I just wanted attention, and I was a liar. So all throughout life, I was trying to get my education, trying to live a normal life while having a disability. And I feel like I fought this hard. And now, especially now that I'm diagnosed, I'm fighting even harder. And I know some people, they're like, oh, why is she talking about this stuff? Because it needs to be heard. It's like there are some other people with disabilities who will speak their mind, but then there are some who are scared to talk politics. I will talk politics all day, every day. I do not care. Especially, I am an example of what America or MAGA hates. Because one, I'm a woman. Two, I am a black woman. 3, I am a black woman with a disability. Every day, some of my rights are at risk. Every single day. You're going to bring back, and I'm going to talk about this in another episode, but one day you bring back like segregation, you know, and then you ban books by African Americans, and then with the storyline of Harriet Tubman, and just so many different things. And then as a woman with reproductive health, and then it's like I think they had to cancel it or go backwards, but they tried to close down all of the studies, all of the scientific studies that had women in it, female or women in it. Yeah, all lives matter, but women, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know, it's just like every time I hear they're fake, all lives matter, but then I see how they treat people with disabilities, how they treat women, how they treat black people, people of color. All means everyone. All means everyone. And then the ignorance of some people who they keep saying all this stuff about abortion. Yes, I'm kind of getting off topic, but it goes right back around. But then in a lot of those studies, look at the asterisks. Look at how, and also look at the definition of abortion. And I was like, I guess I'll cover this one day. Maybe, like I always say this, but there's so many that I probably won't get back to it. But a lot of miscarriages are like with the procedures that they go through. Ta-da, that's part of those numbers. Ta-da. And with a lot of these doctors and with a lot of the medical, sometimes I'm just wondering when are doctors going to, I mean, doctors that have common sense, because that hot piece of like poorly educated, and that's the crazy part. How can you be so naive, so stupid, so ignorant? You're going to have the nerve to try to say that about people with disabilities, acting like so many people fake it. Oh, and I know it's like even when I was teaching, some of my students kept, well, the MAGA student, because he is, some of my students, they were proud to be MAGA, and they would, and you remember when one of my, let's see, non-people of color students, male, he was a male, he was proud, as like, he was just like, well, since you're black and stuff, I'm sure you probably grew up in Detroit, so I already know I'm smarter than you already, so there's nothing you can teach me. And then when he sees me come to class and stuff, he says, "Oh, I'm sure you're faking this." He said, "Is this how you're able to keep your job?" Since like, and yeah, went through this like, and I had to get through this a few different semesters, because even one of my last semesters there was, and the funny thing, this is a person of color. He said, racism is over with, so get over it. Because when I teach my classes, I love teaching with examples of people of all different genders, races, nationalities, and genders, and LGBTQ disability. I try to make sure that I have business owners that are variety, and that got on his nerves. And he loved calling me Professor Cripple. It's like I almost didn't say it, but I was like, you know what? I want you guys to know, yeah. You don't know what some of us have been through. You don't know how much some of us have had to fight. And some of you don't even know how Medicaid even works. Because, yes, I want to work and I'm trying to get back to working. And I'm writing my children's books because, yes, I want to get back to work, but I want streams of income so that If my condition gets too worse, at least I have ways money will still be coming in. I want to be independent. So that's one reason I thought with YouTube and my books and my greeting cards and all of my other projects that that will at least be a solid way to make sure that I am going to be able to take care of myself. But not everyone has that, or not everyone is able and capable of doing that. And it's just alarming with how, again, Dr. George, oh, I cannot stand that man. And he's never going to apologize. He'll, but, and that's why it's like, I have no problem showing his pictures, and I do too. Because when I went to see him, I was in absolute pain. And I was working 2 jobs in absolute pain. But I remember he looked me right in the eye after I told him how much pain I was in. And he shrugged his shoulders and when he looked at me. And he said, "Go home and lose weight." And then a few years later, I could not walk anymore. I couldn't. For months, I couldn't. I had to have major surgery. Major surgery. And then I had to go through over a year and a half more of tests because I already had tests before. And the crazy part was they kept coming back normal. And so doctor after doctor kept telling me, "This is in your head. You damaged yourself." It's like, why don't you just start walking right? Maybe that's what happened. Yeah. And one of them that said this is one of the best neurologists in Michigan. And after the first time I went to his appointment, guess how long it took for the second appointment? If you guessed 6 months, no. If you guessed a year, no. I think it just missed a year and a half. And by then I couldn't walk anymore. I remember I was in tears in bed, and I think the doctors gave me something because they were guessing on what would at least put me in less pain for me to survive the day, because that was how much pain, like, and Advil, like Medicaid, like that stuff did nothing. Because I remember one of the doctors like, just take some aspirin. That did nothing. And so I was in bed, cuddled up in fetal position, hugging a pillow all day with either music or Disney in the background. So much pain. I still have phantom pain till this day. That's how much pain I was in. I still have phantom pain. There are still times when, especially if I'm in certain rooms where I remember sitting in so much pain, sometimes I still get nervous to get up. But it's like, I'm faster now with, no, it's okay now. Remember, it's okay now. So when doctors like this idiot who he told me go home and lose weight, and I remember leaving the doctor's office crying, like I was in so much pain, I was in tears. And a woman stopped me in the parking lot asking me, "Do you need me to call 911?" And I'm looking at her like, I'm leaving the doctor's office. Like, what do you, no, like, what's the point? What's the point? So we need more training with doctors for one. Or at least we need more studies, or they need to start listening and talking to people with disabilities. Because how dare you? You say they look like. Yeah, people used to say I was making it up. People used to say it was in my head. I have a rare disability. It's in my DNA. DNA doesn't lie. So when people want to say they're like I'm faking or they're faking or whoever's faking, if they want to say they're lying. But thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.